I have the privilege tonight of being able to tell you the story of Hosea. It is one that is as shocking as any story you will hear, and scandalous because it is true. Hosea was a man of God who lived in the Middle East during the rise of the Assyrian Empire some 3,000 years ago. It was through Hosea that God communicated his message to humanity. And there was one day where God was communicating to Hosea, and he says, "It is time that you take a bride." And there's nothing shocking about that. He was a young man, and that is what many young men do. It's the condition that God put on who he was to take as his bride. He said, "I want you to take a bride," there's just no nice way to say this, "that's going to be unfaithful to you. She is going to sleep around." This is not a normal thing for a man of God to be told to do. But Hosea goes, and he goes in pursuit of a young woman named Gomer. Now, Gomer was like many young children. She had been an innocent child who happened to make some bad choices. Those bad choices became habits, and those habits became a lifestyle. And at this point, when Hosea goes to pursue her, she is in a lifestyle of sin. She is trapped, and yet Gomer is pursued by Hosea. Even though it tarnishes his reputation as a man of God, Hosea pursues Gomer. And people are talking, and they're saying, well, maybe Gomer just needs a second chance. Maybe with this new opportunity will come a new reality for her. And that's what happens. They marry, and it goes well. In the course of time, a baby boy is born. Brings joy into the family. And after a little more time, there's a girl. And after yet more time, a third child is born, another boy. And there are people that are starting to wonder, well, maybe that was it. Gomer needed just this opportunity. And yet here's where the story takes that, what many of us hold in our hearts as the inevitable twist. Because under the pressure of being a wife and all of the strain that comes with being a mother of young children, she starts to look backwards at the life that she left. A life that didn't hold all the responsibilities and all of the endless, selfless sacrifices that motherhood does. And she started to be enticed by the allure of the freedom that she had before. And it's at this point that other men start to offer her jewelry and clothing. And she's drawn back into that lifestyle. She abandons her husband and her children. And she goes to live for the moment, to leave all the worries and the responsibilities behind, and only to live for what feels good. And at first things go well, but then she starts to realize that she did not walk into freedom, she has walked into bondage. That this lifestyle has now shackled her both in the physical realm, but also in her emotional realm. She finds herself trapped as a victim in the sex slave, being sold to the highest bidder. And all the while, back at home, Hosea is fulfilling the role of a single parent. He lives with the constant demands of the family. He lives with the shame of the community that all know what his wife has done. And it's at this point that God breaks into the story again. And he says directly to Hosea, "Go. Go and show unconditional love to your wife." Now just think about that. Go and show unconditional love to the woman who has broken your heart, abandoned your children, and completely tarnished your reputation in the community. And God says, go and show her love. So Hosea goes, but the going is already difficult. To go and to find where Gomer now resides means that Hosea must go into that part of town where a man of God ought not to go. Simply walking those streets is dumping the shame on him. When he finds his wife, she's surrounded by all of these men who have no interest in her leaving him. He explains that he is here to take Gomer, his wife, home. And you can hear the snickers and the jeers start to rise from the crowd. And out of the group of men comes one person up to Hosea and says, "Mister, I don't know and I don't care who you think this woman is. I know she's my slave. I own her." And at this point, Hosea is forced to start to negotiate how much he will pay to release his wife. The bartering does not go well. The price soon exceeds all the cash he has, and he starts to barter with the family's food supply. In the end, they come to agree on a price. 15 shekels of silver, all the cash he has, and a pile of barley that would feed his family for 4 months. After paying this price, Hosea leads Gomer out of the abyss that has been her prison. He takes her to a quiet place in the country, away from the noise and the abuse that she has become used to. And there he pledges his undying love for her. He tells her that he is like an evergreen that is ready to give life no matter what the season. Now, in the eyes of the world, Hosea just bought this woman. She is his slave. But Hosea says, he implores her, "Do not call me master. I have risen you to the position of my wife. You are to call me husband." At this point, you could ask the question, how does Gomer get put into a place like this? How can God ask Hosea to live a life like that? Is God cruel? Is God unjust? Gomer has made all of these wrong decisions, and yet she ends in a place of honor. The life of Hosea was to reflect who our God is. He is the God who pursues. And what he asked Hosea to do, he knew exactly what it was, because he's willing to do that as well for each one of us. As God pursues after us, and we can choose to ignore God, pretend he doesn't exist. We can choose to flaunt our authority, our free choice in front of him. And yet God will pursue. God does not count the cost. Is this too painful? Will this tarnish my reputation to associate myself with these people? No, he pursues in love. As you watch this dance performance tonight, I don't want you just to observe the life of Gomer. I want you to realize that this is in part your life as well. I want you to experience what it is to enter into this story. And it is my hope that through watching this dance performance, you will understand in some small part how God pursues us and loves us with an unconditional love.